Hello and welcome to the video. I am Necropally, your friendly neighborhood World of Warcraft Twitch streamer. I stream every Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. on average. Today we want to talk about the state of WoW and whether or not you should return to WoW in 2025. Alright, so where are we at in 2025 with World of Warcraft? Well, if you've been around like me since vanilla, yes, I am old enough to have played vanilla back when it was actually vanilla. You've been around for several of these expansions that you can see up over. Which way? That way. That way. Yeah, that way. Up over here. And some of us can honestly, put it out there. Things weren't getting better. It all culminated in this expansion called Shadowlands. Worst expansion I ever played. But then Dragonflight came around and it breathed new life into the game. And they've kept the ball rolling with War Within. So, is it time to come back to WoW? Absolutely. So besides, getting back to the basics and more storyline related stuff in the new expansions, what else has WoW done to elevate the user experience? Well, you have things like Plunderstorm. You have things like Season of Discovery, where you can go back and play vanilla WoW with some current retail flair. You have Hardcore. You have them revisiting all of the classic iterations. I think they're getting ready to go to Cataclysm. And there's a bunch of different game modes that you can play. Do you want to get into retail? I recommend yes. Do you want to get into Plunderstorm? Well, if you like playing stuff that's kind of like Fortnite, which, by the way, I've won a few Plunderstorms myself, then it's a lot of fun. But they have something for everyone now. Alright, so let's focus in on retail WoW in 2025. What has Blizzard done to, one, bring back the community, to improve gameplay for longtime players, as well as those returning? Well, one of the big things to me is that they've brought in cross-faction play. Absolutely amazing. You can have cross-faction guilds. Now you can play the character that you want to play and still play around with your friends. Epic. Perfect. Way to go, Blizzard. The only thing that I would recommend is allow them to queue for looking for dungeon in multi-faction groups. Still can't do that. Not sure why. Alright, so let's talk about what else have they done well. What we saw a lot of at the beginning of Dragonflight and all through Dragonflight was a revamp of the talent trees and much needed class tuning. Yes, Demon Hunters, you are still overpowered. Just not so much anymore. There are some classes that are finally catching up to you. But there is still a chance for us to do just a little bit better. But we're on the right track. In War Within, we got hero talents that makes you be able to customize your build just a little bit more. You can have two fire mages in the same group that have different builds because they just went different aspects of hero talents. Amazing. Give us that customization as well as simplifying it for newer users. Great job. One of the biggest reasons that I would recommend coming back to WoW in 2025 is because one of my biggest pet peeves is when they introduced looking for group. Community went out the window. It didn't matter anymore. But because of some of the things that WoW has done, the community is back. We are back and we have a bigger and better community than we had before. People are actually enjoying playing with one another. I know, crazy, right? I personally have been lucky enough to find an amazing group of people to raid with, to do dungeons with, to just sit around and chat with. If you're looking for somebody, you can always come find me, but I guarantee you'll find your niche somewhere. All right, so we talked about how WoW has a bunch of different game modes now, with different ways to play and different time frames that you can play in through Season of Discovery and Plunderstorm and the remixes, which are freaking amazing. But not only do they have more ways to play the game, but inside retail, they've made it so much easier that if you want to be a solo player, you can do that and still get top tier gear. If you want to be someone like me that pushes mythics, that's there for you. You have the casual questers. They have plenty of those. Maybe a little bit too many of those quests, but who knows? You can do transmog farms. You can do, for those interesting individuals that like to actually roleplay their characters, they have the servers for that, and there's some people that are really into that. Not my cup of tea, but to each their own. But you don't have to be a end-game raider anymore to experience all of the best content. Especially, you don't have to be an end-game raider to actually kill the last boss in the raid and see the storyline. Amazing. Blizzard has added in those features that allow you to do story mode. There's also another feature that if you want to play with a group, but you don't really like playing with people, doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But you can do these things called follower dungeons, where you have a tank, you have a healer, you have other DPS, and yourself as DPS, or you can be the tank and there's a healer, but they provide a group for you that is AI-ish, but it allows you to run dungeons without having to deal with looking for people. Again, not my cup of tea because I play an MMO to socialize and get around with people and do things and have some kind of a group or community. But to each their own. Everybody has things that they like. So, should you come back to WoW in 2025? Absolutely. There's not a better time to come back. Especially for, all my other WoW addicts that are jonesing for that kind of WoW fix that you haven't been able to find anywhere else. Join us. Come back. We're all here and ready to embrace you. Just like Xal'atath right behind me trying to give me a hug. We're all here. Come and join us. If you like the content and you want to see more of this, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, leave me a comment in the comment section. What more do you want to know about WoW? Where do you want to see things and content coming from? Or stop by my Twitch. Stop in and say hi. More than happy to see you. See you in the next video.